Hello and welcome back to the Pitwall Podcast, where this week we're going to be breaking down the United States Grand Prix.
Yeah, it was a great race. I was there, so that was pretty cool at the Circuit of the Americas. It's what's hilarious is I'm from Texas, and it took me moving away 6 years before I finally got to go. So, yeah, my dad and I went. It was a great time, other than what happened to Mercedes, which is just a brutal weekend. It's really hard to keep your spirits up. You know, you're excited, you're there, and then just things just keep coming. At the end of Saturday, my dad, I said, you know, I tried really hard to just be in a good mood no matter what happened. He goes, yeah, if you had sat down and rode out as bad as it possibly could have been for you today, it happened worse than it actually. And I was like, pretty much. So in lieu of it's been a while, in lieu of a qualifying 60, we're going to talk about the sprint.
Yep.
And I have a really important point to make just right off the bat about the sprint. In sprint qualifying, I was sitting at turn 12, which if you're wondering where that is, just every single time that Max and Lando went for an overtake and then ended up next to each other for like 8 corners, that was the start of that. So I saw all of that battle, which is awesome. But so at that corner during sprint qualifying, Colapinto spun. Mm-hmm. And I had just been talking about how much I thought he was a great driver and all this stuff. And he spins, which happens to everybody, but he spins. And because of that, if you look at the telemetry, Lewis had to lift on his final lap. And if Lewis had not had to lift, he would have been, at that point in the lap, he was 2.5 tenths up on Max already on his eventual pole time. Mm-hmm. So Lewis Hamilton would have been on sprint pole right in front of me. And the weekend, who knows what kind of like mojo and juju that could have happened that could have made the weekend so much better.
Things,
but no, he had to go 6th, which made the sprint almost completely worthless from a Mercedes perspective. They finished 5-6 and and Russell beat him. But Russell, I forget where Russell started from. Russell started from 2nd on the sprint grid, so he didn't have a great sprint. So see what I'm saying? Like he fell back. Lewis came forward. Lewis stayed. Like it's just
it's all a big.
It was brutal, man. Brutal. So anyway, but if that wasn't bad enough. Anything you want to talk about the sprint just before we?
No, not really. Other than Max winning. The sprint.
Max. It was a surprise.
I was so happy.
It was actually refreshing. I have to say. I have to say it was refreshing.
As a Red Bull fan, I agree.
Well, he started on pole, ended on pole. Huh. That's so crazy how you can start on pole and like win the race.
Yeah, there's one other guy that can't do that.
We'll talk about it. But also, Ferrari was looking strong at this point as well. Mm-hmm. I mean, Sainz got P2, Lando P3, and Leclerc P4.
Yep.
So that was good. Also, Haas double points in the sprint. So and Checo was P9. Just throwing that out there. And he fought Tsunoda some during this race too. So into qualifying,
Oh gosh.
So Mercedes sent Lewis out too early, and then he didn't get it. He had his time deleted. So then they waited to the very end, which I don't know if you remember, but I had a rant about this like 3 months ago that I was like, this is evergreen. Just listen to this rant. It's the same. Mm-hmm. Because they waited too long, and then he didn't get a lap.
I do remember this.
He didn't get a lap.
Yeah.
I was right. I was like, yep, it's happening. Now, did I expect P19? No. But I was like, it's happening. Maybe he'll get out. But they just assume. And it's like, yeah, okay, Russell got out and Lewis didn't. Yeah, 50-50. That's about.
That's how it works. Yeah.
So, and then if that wasn't enough, then in Q3, Russell crashes. And I was just like, really? Now, he ended up in P6. Maybe that's where he would have qualified anyway. Mm-hmm. And this began an issue that Mercedes discovered on their car that they don't exactly know what it is, but they know that it's causing something that causes drivers to spin out, apparently, because I'm just going to go ahead and say it. Lewis crashed. We can jump right into the race. Mm-hmm. Lewis crashed on lap 3 of the race.
Yeah.
I can't tell you what it felt like. I saw yellow flag out of this corner of my eye. And there's a screen over here. So I turned to my left. And I just see the HAM drop. And I was just like, you've got to be kidding me.
Oh, man.
You've got to be. Because I had no hope. I was like, you know what? Maybe this is a blessing. Because Russell also started in the pit lane. Yeah. I was like, you know what? Maybe I'll get to see them do a bunch of overtakes, finish P10. Yeah. It'll be enjoyable. I'm not going to have any expectations. It'll be fine. And then Lewis goes from 17th to 12th in the first corner. And I was like, the win is on. I was like, the win is on. No, I wasn't thinking that, but I was like, you know what? He can do, if he got to 12th already.
Yeah.
All he needs is a safety car. I didn't know he was going to cause the safety car. But, I mean, Toto came out after the race and was like, Lewis Hamilton does not crash like that. Mm-hmm. And he was like, we know there's an issue. We can't figure out why it's happening. But basically, it's like suspension, something like that. But Lewis wanted to change his car and have them both start in the pit lane, which, by the way, would have just been awful. But,
yeah.
I mean, Russell.
Yeah, I mean, it ended up working out for Russell.
Yeah, so I'll go ahead and talk about that because I want to talk about lap 1 and everything. Yeah. But Russell went from the pit lane to P6, which I thought was just an incredible performance.
Insane.
And I was very happy to see. And one of the last laps, he overtook Checo, and I was like, yeah! I was like, that's what I needed. That I needed that. I needed something. So, you know, at this. I'm bummed. Yeah. I'm bummed, but at the same time, I'm realistic. I know Mercedes isn't going to fall further than 4th, and I know they're not going to go higher than 4th. So it's just kind of like
you at least know where you're
I
at.
just wanted Lewis to have, you know, like a Lewis win every now and then would be nice, you know. So I was hoping for like a podium.
You got more than I expected from this year.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Yeah, and I'm trying. I just really feel like he needs one more win, like I've been saying.
And
that's
Mercedes.
more satisfying. My dad thinks it doesn't matter. He's like, Silverstone was it. Who cares if he won Belgium?
I mean,
but if you
I'm
go
not
back,
a Mercedes fan, but from an outside, I'm like, I'm happy if that's his last win.
Well,
in Mercedes.
Well, we'll see. But the Belgian Grand Prix like throws everything off. So like 10 years from now, if you look up how did Lewis Hamilton win the Belgian Grand Prix, it's going to be like, well, Russell was disqualified. Like I don't know. It's just it's not satisfying. So there's like basically one more shot in Brazil. Now, if he somehow won Abu Dhabi, that might be satisfying because it's like his last race and the whole thing. So who knows? But I have very little hope. Mercedes looks like they've reverted back like a bunch. Yeah. So I have very little hope for them to win a race the rest of the season. But anyway, let's talk about lap 1. So Lando's on pole. Yeah. And how about you just talk about what Max did? Which, by the way, hold on, one more thing. I'll let you say it. I'm not going to say what he did, but in the vlog, the day before, I don't know if I texted it to y'all. I can't remember. But the day before, I recorded a video where I said my prediction is, and I listed out a prediction, and that's the exact thing that happened in lap 1, turn 1. I said that at the end of the first lap, Lando is going to be in P4. I said it, and I recorded it the day before. So I was like, yep, there it is. So anyway, talk about what Max did.
So Max is just Max, a menace, a competitor.
Yeah, a competitor.
A strong competitor. He threw Lando basically just off the track, went wide, took him wide, allowed Ferraris to both get through.
Yep.
And like, dude, I was like, man, I'm about to get cooked on Twitter as a Red Bull fan.
Well, let me tell you, the thing is, Lando didn't defend well. He left a huge door open.
It's lap 1, Lando Norris.
Yeah, I'm
not shocked.
Yeah, so like Leclerc goes through, and that was it. He was just gone.
I feel like it could have been better. Like, I mean, obviously Max did like really push him, but Max,
but he left the door open for him.
Yeah, Lando could have done something about that to where that didn't happen, but he didn't.
So you're watching Lando's going like this, and what Max is expecting is for him to close the door like that.
Yeah.
And you see him, and he goes, oh, and he like moves up really fast. All of a sudden, you're like, oh, I see what's about to happen.
Yeah.
And he shoves him way off, and then both Ferraris go through. And like I said, Leclerc, never saw him again. Yeah. I barely even thought about him again. Yeah. Because he immediately gets like 6 seconds after the safety car that I talked about a minute ago. So how crazy, I mean, and we can go ahead and say, because this is like actually not the most interesting part of the race. Yeah. Ferrari got a 1-2 in this race.
Yeah, it's insane.
So I thought both of them had a great weekend. I thought Sainz was going to DNF there for a minute.
Yeah.
Because he was talking about gas in his car. Yeah, what all did he say on the radio? Because I didn't really hear. Do you remember?
I didn't see anything else. Like,
that's all he said, pretty much.
Yeah, I didn't see any. Like, I checked online. I didn't see anything else about his problem that he was having in the car. But man,
how are you feeling as a Red Bull fan with the Ferrari?
Yeah, the possibility of Ferrari like catching up actually, and the drivers, like instructors, like go ahead.
The constructors are gone, you think, for Ferrari?
No, for
I mean for Red Bull, like
for Red Bull,
because Ferrari is 8 behind.
Yeah,
that seems like That seems pretty doable.
That seems like it could happen next race type of thing.
Yeah.
Because like Checo, I mean,
Yeah. So tell me about Checo's race, because that's really what's relevant here.
slow, failed to match Max across the entire weekend. Was beaten in the race by a driver who started from the pit lane.
Yep.
It's the same old story of Checo being P7.
Yeah, it was pretty disappointing. Even my dad was shaking his head like just,
No, this was bad.
This was
like
rough.
It's a P7, but it's like
a P97.
it feels like it feels like a Logan Sargent race.
Well, what also it feels like a Logan Sargent race.
Yeah.
Well, what doesn't help him is Lawson also like almost beat him. Lawson went from, and you talk about Lawson's race, just like,
dude, Lawson had a sprint wasn't great, but like overall, like I was like, okay,
this guy's.
I'm sad Danny Rick is gone, but like I am beyond happy that Lawson is getting a chance in Formula One. Like P9 and his first race back, huge race by the way. He pissed off Alonso, which is hilarious.
Yeah. Can you tell me about that more? Because I don't really.
Yeah.
I kind of missed some of that drama.
I still don't kind of understand it. It seemed like Lawson was like fighting too hard in the sprint. Yeah.
Okay.
And so afterwards during qualifying, Alonso like overtook him out of the pit exit and like.
Yeah, and apparently they were like, he was like walked up and yelled at him.
Yeah.
Jeez, man.
Yeah.
Well,
which I watched all the onboard of it, and Lawson, like, I mean, it just looked like someone fighting and like racing. So I mean, but you know, it's Alonso.
Well, yeah.
I was ecstatic though when he got P9, and I was like,
from the back.
Yeah,
yeah. So
I was super happy with Lawson this weekend.
I'm sorry, but if you're sitting there, I felt like Yuki had like a pretty okay weekend.
Yeah.
Yep. I will say that he finished P14 in the race.
Yeah.
So, like, he looked good, but finishing P14 was like, Lawson just beat you, bro.
Yeah. First race in.
And, again, I don't want to steal your thunder, but I want to talk about Colapinto as
well.
Yeah. Who also beat Yuki.
Yeah.
And I'm like, so I maybe have a hot take.
Yeah. Let's hear it.
Lawson to Red Bull, Colapinto to V-Carb.
Oh,
Red Bull goes after Colapinto because Sauber is just screwing around.
Yeah,
Sauber's just screwing around. And if I was Red Bull, I'd be on the door right now to try and get Colapinto. Because what's the worst that can happen?
Lawson moved up and Colapinto to take
Checo's just gone.
Lawson's current seat. Yeah,
can't you see that?
I could.
Yeah,
I could.
Lawson just has that like Red Bull aura around him. It just feels right. It just feels right.
I agree with you. I said that Lawson should have been in the seat freaking on the summer break.
I was feeling bad for Danny Rick, and then I saw that. I was like, nah.
Yeah.
But by the way, Danny Rick branding all over the place.
Oh, yeah.
Everywhere.
Really?
Pictures of him in cowboy hat everywhere. He was the center of every single like Texas branded F1 thing.
Really?
It was rough. Yes.
Oh, man.
Yeah, I forgot to look because I grabbed a map because I like to grab one and just keep it.
Yeah.
And I forgot to open it because it usually has the drivers in it. I didn't see if he was in it or not. But I bet he was because, I mean, they probably printed it like 2 months ago.
Yeah, that's true.
But, yeah, dude. So I thought Colapinto had a fantastic race.
Yeah, he did. He was P10, scored a point. I mean, for Williams, dude, right now, I mean.
Also, Albon P16. Also, he's
these rookies, man.
He's slamming Albon
these
to the ground.
These rookies are killing it.
So, dude, I mean, I
could see what you're saying about Red Bull. Like, I could see that happening, but surely, like, I said Austin, like, would probably be a decider for Checo. Like, but now I'm just like, I don't know. Red Bull might just be stupid and not.
Dude, they can't. Because, like, they're going to throw any chance of a championship down the tube next year for this guy.
Yeah.
Because I think right now we're looking at least a 3-horse battle, not including Mercedes, by the way.
Well, that's if Red Bull can, like, pull it back together.
Okay, so I thought Red Bull in general looked a lot better this weekend.
This weekend, yes. That's why, like,
their upgrades totally worked.
Like, unlike Alpine, they're on, like, an upward trajectory.
I thought Alpine kind of looked good this weekend. I thought they looked okay this weekend.
Gasly did.
Oh, okay, I thought Gasly looked pretty okay this weekend.
Pretty okay. Ocon, on the other hand, looked rough.
I
also didn't feel like it was all his fault.
Okay. Well, I thought Gasly finished P12, which I thought was like pretty good.
No,
What about
that's
Ocon?
pretty good. He finished P18.
Well, okay, but they pitted him for fastest lap for some reason,
Yeah, I mean that's fair.
and he apologized to Colapinto because he stole Colapinto's point.
Yeah.
So, I thought Red Bull and Alpine looked like the most improved this weekend. I thought because Alpine's going from a dumpster fire to like a recycling
like a
bin
trash fire?
Yeah.
It's fair. Like
Actually, would that be worse?
You're correct. Like Gasly did look better, but like to me, just watching Ocon and like focusing on him a little bit, like it just like it didn't seem like mistakes he was making were causing issues. It seemed like the car was just bad.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I hated their livery, by the way. Like it was so confusing.
No, that was rough.
When you look to your left at the race, I was like,
Yeah.
What? Why is there a
Bring back the
McLaren in the
Deadpool
back?
Wolverine.
Oh wait, that's Alpine.
Yeah.
So yeah, dude, I thought Red Bull looked a lot better. Like it made me think maybe they could win again.
Yeah.
Like maybe they could win again this season. But all I'm saying is next season, let's just talk about the Ferrari delusion that's about to happen here.
Yeah.
Because okay, they just won another race. Leclerc's won 3. Sainz has won 1. That's 4 races this season. Okay. They're looking like they can pull off P2 in the championship. So they're going to beat last year's Constructors Champion. And they have Lewis Hamilton coming next year. Their delusion, and they're really good in Australia. I'm like Melbourne.
Oh, yeah.
They're really, and that's the first race the next season. If they come out and throw down, like Lewis Hamilton wins the first race of the season, like Italy is going to explode. Like they're going to they're going to go crazy. They're like, it's on, because I just don't. Even if they bring Lawson in, I think that it's going to be they're not going to have this gap that they did at the beginning of the season.
Yeah, I don't think so. Like, I believe like they really did look a lot better this weekend, or Max looked a lot better this weekend.
Totally.
But like the car itself seemed like it was doing better for Max, at least.
They put it back in a window. I see it needs to be predictable for Max. I think he can drive through the weaknesses. It just can't be changing.
Yes,
constantly.
he can for sure.
Yeah.
I think this is like I said, I feel like it's an upward trajectory. Hopefully that's the case, because if we come in next season like where we're at now, it's going to be rough.
I mean, again, they have to make a driver change or they have no shot. They have no shot.
1,000%. If Checo's in the seat come Melbourne next year, I'm just going to have no hope for
If they finish P3, you gotta make a change. You have to. You can't come from P1, the most dominant season ever, to P3. Like,
if you're trying to actually win again, you can't just have a repeat season.
This is coming from a guy that's watched Mercedes do that, but it was the car. There's nothing they couldn't like if firing George Russell was not the answer. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, let's see who else we need to talk about before we talk about McLaren. Hulkenberg, Haas.
Oh yeah,
Haas. P8 for Hulkenberg, the Haas delusion syndrome. Dude, I believe in him again. Like Haas is.
I believe in Hulkenberg.
I believe in Haas, bro. I believe in Haas. Behrman's gonna come. I'm not saying Ocon, but Behrman's coming in.
Okay.
And they got Toyota. They're building their wind tunnel.
Yeah.
Like things are. We up. Haas is up, bro. There's a lot of Haas fans as well.
I don't doubt it, dude. Magnussen was P11. I mean, this is a lot better than I imagined K-Bag finishing, let's be honest.
They got a big haul of points this weekend. They're in P6 in the standings now, too.
That's crazy.
So, we talked about Gasly and Ocon. We talked about Albon and Colapinto.
Joe finished P19.
Bottas P16.
Yeah, so
that's pretty good. P16. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
Hey, they had an okay pit stop.
Yeah.
That's a successful weekend. They're finishing last for sure.
We haven't talked about McLaren.
Did we miss anybody else? Are we missing Yuki?
Stroll.
Yeah.
You got P15. Dude, Stroll looked bad this weekend, just entirely.
Alonso P13. Like, just they're not even in the the lack of. I saw fans of like almost everybody.
Yeah.
Almost no Aston Martin fans.
Like, they're not even like they're not even eavesdropping in the freaking championship conversation.
It's just crazy to me that Mercedes can absolutely tank a weekend and it's 344 to 86.
Yeah.
Like it's just not. There's a divide right there. So, it's just crazy how big that gap is. So, yeah, let's talk about McLaren. So. Talk about Piastri first.
Yeah, Piastri, I felt like just couldn't get anything going with this race. Like he started P5 and finished P5. Just seemed like with the front runners ahead, he couldn't really do anything. He was just kind of in a spot where he had to chill.
Yeah, well, Lando had a crazy battle with Max Verstappen in this race. Super enjoyable. Saw pretty much all of it. Dude,
Yeah, you were in the
turn
action spot.
12 is the greatest place maybe on the F1 calendar. Maybe turn 3 at Austria is better, but I timed it. I could see them for 23 seconds. Can you think about how long that is?
That is long.
Like, because I see them go all the way through the chicane and stuff, and where I'm sitting, I could see turn 1 a little bit. The S's of 4 through 5. So like you could see so much from where I was sitting.
Nice.
It was almost too much because I didn't know. Like you
didn't know where to look.
It was exhausting almost because you're like you feel like you're constantly guilty for not looking at another spot. So, dude, first of all, let me just say, Lando 100% deserved the penalty.
Yeah.
100%. You know I'm annoyed with Lando Norris when I was pulling for Max in this situation. Because I was sitting with my dad and I was like, I could see it. I saw it when he shoved him off. I was like, Lando overtook off the track.
Yeah.
And then the reasoning that they only gave him a 5-second instead of a 10-second because he had already committed to going outside. That's a piece of work. Like, dude, it's a piece of work.
Yeah.
And they made Piastri slow down by a second to try and make sure he didn't drive. It's just so stupid.
Yeah.
So I'm declaring Drivers' Championship over. I think that was the nail in the coffin. I'm declaring it. I know it's not technically over, but like it would take Max like 3 DNFs at this point. Declaring it over. No way you catch up because I think he put him away in the sprint. Honestly, he was like, "I am Max. I just won this thing. Like I kicked your butt."
Yeah.
And then, dude, like just Lando, man. I'm over it. I'm over it.
Yeah.
So Max got a podium for you.
Yeah, he did.
So I mean, I don't know what else. That's about all else notes I have for this race.
Yeah, that's it, really.
Everybody's super mad about this penalty, comparing things. Oh, Russell got a 5-second penalty that didn't really matter, and when you compare them, you're like there's a difference, like, and you can see where they weren't at the apex. So, and funny enough, actually, everybody today is talking about. There's this overtake that Max did off the track in turn, I can't remember, in Brazil of 2021. And he shoved Lewis like a football field off the track. Okay.
I saw this.
But he was ahead at the apex.
Yeah.
So everybody's like, that's it. That's the rule. You can go as far and wide as you want with the apex.
Yeah, as long as you're ahead at the apex.
McLaren were just too stupid to do the right thing. All they had to do was give the spot back, and they would have had Max. He was so much faster.
Yeah.
Max put on, I got to just say it humbly, Max put on one of the best defenses I've ever seen.
Yeah.
For 10 laps, he was under DRS threat, and he only got overtaken off the track. Like, freaking ridiculous. Like, he was dead meat, man.
Yeah.
He was dead meat, and you could see it. He would, like, play mind games with him. Oh, and Lando was moving under braking a bunch, too. So, anyway, I could go on and on about how Lando is just not fit for this battle, but... Because he's not. So, anyway, I think that's about it. Give me your winner and loser for this race.
Winner's going to be Red Bull, just because, or at least Max. But I say Red Bull as a whole because like they look like they're doing better. Loser is probably going to be Lando. I feel like, or just McLaren as a whole. Like this weekend just didn't look good for their standings.
Yeah. Winner, going to give it to Ferrari. I think I have this theory. I have this theory that they have the best car when they can set it up correctly.
Yeah.
And I think they have the narrowest setup window because when they've won convincingly every single time. Yeah. But I think their setup window is so narrow. They're always good in straight line too, but so narrow that it's just hit or miss.
Yeah.
And McLaren's like the best all rounder, and Red Bull has some like weird issues that like work sometimes and don't the other. So like, that could be just completely stupid take, but it just seems that way to me. A 1-2 is not an accident. Not in this race. No way. They had to do a restart, survived it.
Yeah.
Like, so I don't know. I thought they were. Loser's going to be me. I'm going to give myself a loser for watching Lewis crash. I just really needed that like closure and I didn't get it. So like I should have been mentally preparing for it more, but I wasn't. Cause I was like, even if he finishes 18th, at least I get to see him drive by one more time. And I was like, he crashes. I just can't like think about it. He crashes that I never see him come around again. Like that's it. It's over. I've never seen him in a Mercedes ever again. Next time he drives by me, he's going to be in a red car. Like, I guess unless I run into him in the parking lot somewhere. So anyway,
Or they do a special livery.
A red Ineos, a red Mercedes livery. That would be so weird. They can't do that.
No. I'm talking about Ferrari doing a special livery.
Silver?
Could be a different color than red.
Oh, they could do yellow.
Yeah,
I guess.
exactly.
I'm sure they'll do something. So, we'll talk about the next race, but Fernando Alonso's 400th Grand Prix is coming up.
Yep.
So, which is crazy. So, he actually has a new record he could break if he wins a race after 400.
That's fair.
Yeah, but not
Wow.
300, so it took him longer. So, anyway, that's it. Subscribe, like, follow at the Pitwall Pod. Mexican Grand Prix coming up, so be sure to check out our predictions, and we'll see you on the next one.
See you later.
Bye.
Bye.